So when I first got here 3 years ago, there was a need to pass a millage because our current millage was going to expire in 2026. And so myself and the school board got together and looked at things that we needed as a district. And one of those things was the focus of student safety.
When there was a drill for severe weather before we got our storm shelters, we have bathroom hallways, and they are made of brick. We would go and we would take our big textbooks, and we would put our textbooks over our heads and stay there until they told us that we were okay.
I looked around at other districts to see what they were doing. A lot of districts were converting huge gymnasiums into safe shelters. We looked at that, but it just wasn't cost efficient. Those pretty much only serve as safety shelters for tornadoes, not active shooters. So we looked at national safety shelters as an option because we felt it served as dual purpose for that.
Normally when communities are asked to pass a millage, no one wants higher taxes. No one wants to give up more of their hard-earned money. When our community was told the primary expense would be for safety shelters for our kids, it wasn't even a discussion. It was, that's awesome. How soon can the shelters get here? How soon can they be installed?
Our community turned out and strongly supported a millage increase for us because it was what was best for our kids.
So we are a small campus. We have two main buildings, our elementary and our high school. We've purchased 46 shelters total, and so every classroom has one. Our library has one. We even have them in our Agri building. And so every student has access at all times.
We're not looking at transporting kids across this campus. That was one of the big selling points for our community and for our faculty and staff. It was, you do not have to take your kids anywhere. It's right there in your room. You have instant access to those.
I feel safer now that they're in the room because I can just take 4 steps and I'm in the shelter.
With an active shooter, it's kind of the same thing. Our students can go in the safe shelter, lock them down, and we know without a doubt that they are safe.
Before having the shelters, our procedure was to move the students to the bathroom. That was not as easy as it sounds, even with high school students. With the shelters now, it's 15 steps across the room for all of my students. This is a much more effective and efficient way to keep kids safe faster.
In my case, I have 2 classrooms. I have my classroom space, and then I also have a kitchen space. So I would have to not only lock one door, but I might have to lock and use U-bolts for multiple doors to keep my children safe. Now, I don't have to be concerned with that. I can take my children straight to the shelter and close the door, and that's all.
So the installation was pretty smooth. They worked on weekends. It didn't shut down any school time. Workers weren't here during the school day. And so our kids never came into contact with the actual installation. Matter of fact, they would come to school Monday and the shelters were there.
It's really just an extension of the wall for me. I can decorate the shelter. I have posters on the shelter. It really just blends in. It takes up space, but it's worth that space.
The teachers decorate it with like spelling words, and it makes me feel like it's another wall.
When they decorate them, it just makes them seem like a lot more fun.
As a parent, it is more reassuring as well. My children's teachers have that added protection for my children. I don't worry about them. I believe that their teachers are prepared so that I can do my job to keep my children in my classroom safe, because my child is going to be in a safe shelter in their classroom as well.
My child is 2 buildings over from me. Knowing that she has access to go into the same shelter that every other kid on our campus does, and the safety level is still the same, that takes a large portion of concern off of my plate. Because when I'm at school during the day, yes, I'm a parent, but my primary job is to be a teacher and take care of those students that are right in front of me.
Having the shelters here in place on our campus gives an absolute sense of security and my ability to keep my kids safe. And that's how I look at my students. All the students in my elementary, those are my kids. I feel very confident that those students are safe here with me and I can protect them.
It makes me feel like I can keep every child in that classroom safe to the best of my ability.
These safety shelters, to me, have just improved our method of keeping our kids safe by 1,000%.